Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Welcome. It's a beautiful Saturday. The weather's been feeling like fall in the past few days, and I am enjoying that. Let me see who's here. People popping in. Hello, Marilyn's Tarot Take. I don't know why I have just subscribed to your channel, and I don't think I realized you had a channel before. I haven't yet watched any videos, but I shall. So hello, Elspeth, and hello, Nothing So Strange. If any of you are stressed out today, let's take a minute to take slow, deep breaths, because I tend to run and ramble on too quickly, and every once in a while we just need to slow down a little bit. So breathe in, breathe deep, hold your breath, and exhale 3 times. Breathe in, hold your breath, and exhale. Breathe in, hold your breath, and exhale. Now I feel a little lightheaded. Hello, Raven Tarot Meditation. Hello, Saskia. Hello, Simon. I don't imagine we'll have Simon with us too long today. I know he's getting ready to do his monthly tarot spotlight. So, this is one of those weeks where I never know what to do, really. If I get a deck in the mail, I'll share it with you. And I do have something on order, and I don't know when it will arrive. Apparently it's coming from across the pond. So maybe in another week or so. I'm also getting ready to travel. A little prematurely getting ready to travel, because I'm going away at the beginning of October for just, a few days, 3 or 4 days. I'm going to go with my partner to Provincetown, which I haven't been to since 1980. So I'm looking forward to that. And I always enjoy fall. The fall leaves should be really pretty in New England by then. And I'm hoping we have easy travel. We're not using any cars, so we're going by train and ferry. And we're booked and ready to go pretty much. I'm even packing a bag already this early, a month away. It's a little crazy. But just sort of trying to get myself in gear for the idea of travel. I can't remember the last time I had anything resembling a vacation. It was probably before COVID, and I don't know how many years before. I'm not a big traveler, and I don't like to travel alone. I don't like to go places I haven't been alone. And I generally like feeling very secure, and that can be sort of challenging. So I'm going to have, somebody with me, and it should make it a lot easier. But I have been to Provincetown before. He hasn't been to Provincetown. So I kind of know what I'm in for. But like I said, 1980, 90, 2000, 2010, 2000. It's been over 40 years since I was there. So who knows how much it's changed. I pulled the Fool today. I've had a very major arcana week. That's nice. I love working with the major arcana. Major arcana guides my life. And actually, I did something this week. I think sometimes it's nice to show gratitude. And I had two mentors in school around 1970. And one of them was in her mid 90s and passed over the last year or so. And the other was an art professor who's still around, but I think he's 86. And I thought it might be nice to reach out to him and send him a little, not a resume exactly, but a sort of a list of my achievements and my accomplishments that I kind of feel like I owe a debt of gratitude to him for starting me on a certain path. And what I ended up doing was I ended up sending him a copy of my Open Face Tarot because it means a lot to me, and his influence meant a lot to me. And I don't know that he does or has ever dabbled in tarot, but the cards don't have labels on them. So I sent descriptions and instructions, but also if he didn't want to deal with it that way or intuitively, it's just sort of a gallery in a box of my little drawings. And I thought he might appreciate that. So yeah, sometimes it feels really good to express gratitude to others. Reach out, let them know how much they've meant to you, how they've influenced you. It's nice sometimes, I think, to sort of gauge the ripples in a pond. You toss a pebble in, and the ripples go and grow. And if you get feedback years down the way that you did something that impacted somebody else, it's nice to hear about, I think. And I think, then they pass it forward, and inspire others. And yeah, it's a good thing. So anyway, didn't have any particular plans for this week, but I have been working a lot with the Wonderland Tarot that I shared with you 2 weeks ago, that I said was not a beginner's deck. It was what I would consider difficult, might even be a difficult word to use for this tarot. Challenging, possibly. I think it was a little confusing because a lot of the images didn't really correspond particularly to the Rider-Waite-Smith system, even though that's how it's described. And it's really a colorful, beautiful deck, and I love it. And I found, I think I told you at the time that I could read with it regardless, because I could read with blank cards if they've got the titles on them. But this one, I thought, well, I can do that, but let's see what else the images do for me, even though they're a little bit confusing. And sometimes confusing is okay. Sometimes it's good. I was thinking, when we first learned tarot, we look at a little white book. I did, and found it really confusing because I thought the keywords in the little white book were all going to be synonyms, that you'd have one keyword per card, and then other words that were thrown in were very similar. And I was thrown for a loop because some of Arthur Edward Waite's keywords were not synonyms, and they didn't make sense to me. But I find that over time, our vocabulary shifts and changes and grows. And it's okay to get accustomed to a set of keywords when you're first starting out. but different readings and spreads have different context, different times to things mean different things, and words just sort of develop and evolve over time, and sometimes there are layers in the cards that are as important or even more important than the title of the card. Sometimes an image or a little detail in the card will jump out to your subconscious, and you'll run with that. And that's where intuition comes in and plays heavily, I think, in tarot reading. A couple other people popped in. I want to say hello to say hi to Saskia and Will, hello, and Jane the Seeker. And I think we're caught up. So, why don't I put a little title on the screen here? Where are my banners? So I'm going to do, I don't usually do readings. I rarely do readings. But I'm going to do them today using a deck that I find challenging. Now, this is going to bore some people, but, you know, you're going to work with me on this. You can help in the comments. People that read or people that don't read, you know, share your impressions, you know. And I also want you to share your questions. So if anybody would like a reading, please pop a question in the chat for me and I'll do my best. It's already 1:12, so I don't know how many readings we'll get. I hope not too many. I don't want to overwhelm people. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I want to have fun with this deck. And I want to see what you think about it or what you might see in these cards. I'll probably do 3-card readings. Sometimes I'll need a 4th card or a 5th card. Hello, Alder Moon. Welcome. I have, as of this summer, my tarot reading has expanded. I've adopted a new element due to sharing with a friend. It's nice when our practices grow. And what I've been doing is I lay out 3 cards. The first card goes in the center. That's the energy radiating from and around me. The center of the situation is the center of my spread. Next card is to its left, and then the card to its right. And those are the energies surrounding that central energy. And they can go in time sequence, but not necessarily. I don't kind of believe in time in a way. I mean, there can be past, present, future. They might be going the other way, other direction. Time is a man-made concept. So, you know, I kind of like to leave it open a little bit. Hello, Kristen Louise. So if you can put, okay, we've got a question from Marilyn. Let's see. Will my autistic grandson adjust to his new grade school and the teacher? Oh, and I forgot to say, so what I do after the 3, I pull a 4th card to the far right, which is a kind of a what's next card. And then this friend of mine this summer introduced me to pulling a card from the bottom of the deck, which is sort of the furthest away from where you are right now, but he uses that as the outcome card. So I don't know that these 2 extra cards mean that much, but it kind of gives a little more, adds a little more to the spectrum, I think. So let's see. So the central energy. Okay. So I'm laying out 5 cards. Center, left of center, right of center, far right of center, and bottom of the deck on the far left. Okay. Interesting. 4 out of the 5 cards are, or 3 out of the 5 cards are very, a lot of the images in this deck have sort of Ukrainian folk art type imagery. And that's kind of interesting. There's a certain kind of primitive quality to it. There's a certain decorative element. There's a certain element that's less real to the average person, which kind of plays into the idea of the autistic grandson. Now, the center energy is the 2 of Wands. And I'm looking at this, and we've got many wands. Many wands to me can mean the grade school, can mean many students, many influences. These are all wands that are lit, bright, young, thoughtful minds, embracing new ideas, people holding each other, well, they're not exactly holding hands. It almost looks like they're holding hands, but they're together, desk by desk or seat by seat, and sort of a support in unison, people being working and learning things together. Well, it's funny where my head's positioned. That image looks like my head's on fire. My head's on fire. Well, that's part of the reading. Oh, look at these heads are on fire too. I can never get left and right sorted out. We've got these eyes, inquisitive eyes. Eyes are watching. Eyes are taking things in mind, taking in things from the teacher to light fire in their brains, So I think, will my autistic grandson adjust to his new grade school and the teacher? The energy seems to indicate so. To the left, we have the 8 of Pentacles. Now, the 8 of Pentacles is a lot of work in the regular Rider-Waite-Smith system. It's not something we see here, but we see a female figure with a wand. Not saying that his teacher is a female. It could be a male, but the energy there is female in terms of nurturing and encouraging. It indicates, or seems to indicate, especially in conjunction with the first card, that this will be a good teacher to put the energy and the ideas out there for to inspire the kids' minds. Card number 3 is the 9 of Pentacles. This is a wonderful card. The 9 of Pentacles, you see all these little exploding wheels turning and spheres and suns and stars. It's like lighting minds on fire with ideas. And this seems to be coming from a central figure. This seems particularly fortuitous in terms of this teacher being able to engage with everyone. Is your grandson in there? He might be. He might be one of those wheels. Then the what's next card. The 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles is a collaboration. Now, unless your grandson is in a special education class where special attention is given to students, if he's mixed in with a regular class, this might require some sort of extra special collaboration with the teacher or with another figure in the class. And in this card, it looks like an older figure and a younger figure. Now, I got to tell you, I don't do predictive readings, but if you see these as predictive, then that's absolutely fine. For me, they're storytelling cards, and there's stories to be told using universal actions and activities. If they happen to be synchronistic with what's actually taking place, yay, why not, you know? But it looks to me like if there's any issue with the grandson, I would probably get in touch with the teacher and see if he needs a tutor or someone who specializes or can connect on a personal level in a special way with him. And this looks to be like a very good collaboration, a very good partnership. We see a star in the sky. This is a very positive collaboration. Now, the outcome is the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups usually hints at something sad and something glad, but the sad often outweighs the glad. In this card, it doesn't look so much that way. It's funny, this almost looks like one of those funeral processions or something where people are gathered with lights at a protest march or honoring someone else in the night. So how do we read this card in this context as an outcome? I think it just might, we still have the flames again, and we have like numerous figures, and it's almost like some of the figures become flames or torches. So I think that in a way, if we can read this as those illuminated minds of those students and the teacher working with the students can ripple effect outward to reach more people. And that's a good thing. And if we go back to the sad and glad thing, you might have higher expectations that are met, but don't overlook the fact that some expectations are met and some good things happen. If it feels like bad things outweigh the good, don't dwell on the bad things. Support and embrace the good things. So that's my reading. Let's see what people say. Take this off for now. I hope that did something for you, Marilyn, or something to connect yourself with or ask questions about. Jane uses the bottom card for the subconscious. Marilyn says his teacher is a female. Okay. Nine of Pentacles bodes very well. Did I have that in there? I guess I did. Oh, it's the Eight of Pentacles. No, I did have the Nine of Pentacles. Yes, I had the 9 and the 8. Making him feel comfortable and at home. Interesting. He is in regular class and he has an aide. Okay. The aide might be that other figure that is sort of in collaboration. Saskatoon, I don't know what that means. Okay, maybe there's something going on in the news I don't know about. I tend to sort of not embrace the energy in the day-to-day news. Every once in a while, I'll take a little bit of a peek, but we have stronger work to do here than to collapse ourselves into negative energy when it comes along. Have we got any more questions today? Does anybody else want a reading? We're not even at the halfway mark, even though I may leave early. Going to do something fun today, I think. After this, I'm meeting my partner. We've been doing things on Saturday. We've been going to Club Cumming, but I didn't feel like I wanted to go today there. They do have our favorite DJ, but his focus today, he does different themes each week, and this week it's boys, boys, boys. And I couldn't think of songs to request with the boy theme or boys in the title, and I really don't want to listen to a bunch of boy bands. It's not my thing. So I thought, well, we can take the week off. It's also a little bit of a trek across town. So I said, well, this week, instead of coming far east, why don't you come far west? Come into my neighborhood and we'll do something. I'll figure out some place we can go and have a coffee or eat or some kind of an event. And we have been talking for a while. Right across the street from me is a cafe called the Uncommons. And it's a board game cafe. I don't know if they have that in a lot of cities, but and I used to love to play board games. My biggest problem is I could never find other people that wanted to play. And you can't play a board game alone unless you're playing solitaire. And actually, many board games require more than 2 people. So I don't know how this is going to go today, but right after this, we're going to go across the street and have a coffee and play board games. And then we'll probably go out to dine somewhere or have a cocktail where we dine. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's a pretty fall day. I think it's only going to go up to about 81, which is a little warm, but not overly so. And okay, we've got a question. You're welcome, Marilyn. 9 Worlds Tarot. Kristen, I got one. Let's see. I am considering rejoining my local pagan community, but my social anxiety has made me not do it. Any advice? Okay. Thank you for your question, Kristen. I just called you a Christian. Oops. Let's see. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Ooh. The dark and the light. We need the dark and the light always. Oh, it's very interesting. All right. The central energy is the 7 of Wands. Now, the 7 of Wands in this card looks like somebody in a garden, but the garden seems to be surrounded by torches. It's sort of like, are they welcoming people into their garden, or are they leaving their garden to go somewhere else? So, Kristen, you might be asking yourself, am I leaving my place of comfort to go into somewhere that I may not feel welcome, or I may not feel at home? Or on the reverse side of that, by rejoining this pagan community, will you be welcoming people into your garden, or will you keep them at bay? So it's interesting. There's 2 sides and two perspectives on this read, I think. And isn't this a pretty deck? Even if it doesn't make sense visually, I'm picking up on stuff in the images. And I love the sort of autumny colors. It feels like autumn now. So, yeah, I think, I love this kind of juxtaposition of these blossoming flowers. It's funny, too, that sun overhead. I don't know what to make of that image. It almost reads to me like a lobster or a crab. That may be a Rorschach blot for me. I don't know what that means. If I'm thinking crab, maybe a crabby disposition, either on your part or on the part of the other people. Something to think about there. Ask yourself these things. Am I going in with the proper attitude? Am I being received with the proper attitude? Are we connecting? So that's the first card. The second card is the Nine of Wands. Now, Nine of Wands always, for me, means boundaries. But often in the RWS, it means sort of like, oh, you fought a battle and now you need to kind of hold your ground and, lick your wounds, but here it's a very similar thing, although it seems a little bit darker than the previous card. I mean, it seems like, the sun has fallen, day has ended, the darkness has descended upon you, and you are in the midst of all these figures. I don't know whether your community meets in the evenings or during the day. Might be more interesting if you can arrange some meetings during the daytime. That looked a little more positive than this. Or maybe it's an indication of time passing. We had daylight before, we have nighttime now. Maybe there's a length of time relating to engagement with this pagan community. I actually do like this moon. I'm assuming it's a moon because the sky is dark. And again, we have that sort of element of the garden reflected in the moon, as opposed to these trees that seem bare and spear-like and a little bit threatening. It's like reflect on the reflections of the garden of the moon, bringing that into any wariness or scariness that you might encounter in this pagan community. Card number 3 is the Hermit, and this is a beautiful Hermit in this deck, I think. And it's interesting, they're not carrying a lantern, but they are contemplating the solo candlelight. Hi, Beth. Welcome. So I think you're talking about rejoining a community. Now, you've been there before, but maybe you've had some time and distance away that's given you a different perspective for reapproaching it. And as I said with the last one, this idea of boundaries, maybe you need to be able to be open and share with these people, but at the same time, they need to respect your boundaries, and you need to be able to keep your own personality, your own private thoughts, your own sense of you, as embrace your hermit side, even when you are in the midst of all these other figures around you, like these dark grasping trees. It's like, retain your individuality. What is you? What is your personality? The what next card? The Two of Swords. Well, that brings us right back to the question, sort of, should you rejoin? Shouldn't you rejoin? I think, yes, rejoin, as long as you take all these things into account in rejoining. You're meeting other people that are in some ways like you and in some ways not like you. You're sort of like twin spirits, but not exactly. There are differences. You need to learn to appreciate the differences and be open to them. Doesn't mean you have to fully embrace them, but you need to meet these people halfway in terms of how you relate to them. Possibly. There's a question for you. Ask yourself if that's something you can do. And the outcome card is the Seven of Swords. Well, this is often a dark and dastardly card. It's usually the sneaky card. They're usually sort of ulterior motives. I mean, you might ask yourself, what are your motives for rejoining the group? Why do you want to? What are you lacking? What can you find to take from the group and leave the rest behind? Like treat it like a buffet, or like the Seven of Swords guy who steals 5 out of the 7 swords in the night, just what he needs, and leaves the rest for the others. And it seems like you might find it a little bit challenging being around some of these other people. But I think if you, and as much as I do know about you, Kristen, I think you undervalue yourself, and you don't have as much confidence as you could. And I think that we have got a sword here that's like on fire or lit up. It's reaching towards the light. Take the knowledge that your sword, your communication, your thought is better than you think it is. Now, that's not to say it's better than others, but it's better than where you think you are right now. I'm hoping to instill confidence in you, in yourself, in going into this group. And that's the outcome of this reading, is if you can do that, I think you might fare better in dealing with them this time than the previous time. Now, if I didn't ramble on too much, sometimes my mouth and doing readings these days is like automatic writing. It just jabbers on, and what tumbles out. I don't even know if I know what I'm talking about. I'm just seeing images and running with them. Sounds like fun. Yes, pagans are notoriously socially inept. I'm afraid they won't be welcoming. See what you can do to welcome them, perhaps. Maybe if you express the energy that you are welcoming, maybe some of them will blossom and open and welcome you. Push the good energy and, bring forth the good energy, push down the bad energy. Beth is here. That's gorgeous. Which deck is this? I reviewed this 2 weeks ago, Beth. It's called the Wonderland Tarot. It's dirt cheap on Amazon if you shop Amazon. I think it was like 16 or 17 bucks. And it's hard to find a deck under 20 these days. It's supposed to be RWS based. And I think the images are beautiful, but not particularly related to RWS. I think there are layers in here that you need to really kind of reach and dig for and pull out of the images. Simon likes the Hermit card. Sometimes the Two of Swords is like managing expectations. That's good. Kristen, true. I need to be able to verbalize why I want to rejoin. Thank you. You're welcome. And where is your... let me hide that now. And it's 1:39. I think I have time for 2 more readings. If anybody wants a reading, has a question, I love that you've been bringing me these very specific questions as opposed to general ones. But yeah, anybody out there have something they'd like to get a little more input, not only from me and the cards, but from your friends here? So I need more questions if people have them. In the meantime, I will keep shuffling. I do have a little difficulty lately in shuffling. I've been finding my overhand shuffles, the kind of card stocks that I use, seem to not readily separate. They sort of clump in clusters of anywhere from like 3 to 12 cards. And I don't do riffle shuffling, so it's a little bit tricky, a little awkward. I also don't use fanning powder, but hopefully if I keep shuffling and allow the weight to pull the cards out of my hand, allow gravity to work with me, and loosen up my hold on the cards, maybe they'll shuffle a little bit better. Who's got a question for me? Free readings today. I don't know why I said free readings. I'm not charging anything, but okay, thank you. Beth, question. Trying to grow my tarot reading for others. Advice. Not quite sure if I understand your question, so if you want to expand on it, do. I don't know if that just means like marketing to a wider audience, if it means your approach to tarot reading, if you only read for yourself and you want to read for other people. I'm not quite clear on where to focus, but let's see what the cards say. Ooh. Okay. We've got some dark cards and some bright cards. Very nice. And we've got a repeater. All right. The central energy of this question is the Three of Swords. Now, the Three of Swords is often called the heartbreak card, but I think people confuse it with a cups card because of the heart. It's usually a sword piercing a heart, but we have to remember it's a sword card, and swords deal with thoughts and communication. Now, you're talking about reading for others, but somehow the heart is involved in it. There's something challenging that's sort of difficult for emotionally to make that leap to expressing your thoughts and communicating with other people. I'm not going to create a website. In other words, do you see this happening in the near future? Well, that depends on a lot of things. It depends on you. It depends on fate. Depends on how you proceed. So again, I don't do predictive readings. I like to think of myself not as a fortune teller, but as a guidance counselor. So let's look at this. Three of Swords. We have a little bit in conflict, your emotions and your thoughts and communication. So I think that that's something you need to think about and ask yourself. Marilyn says, think of it as mind over matter. That's interesting. Yeah, I think since it's a swords card, the swords need to take the upper hand of the emotions in this situation. Don't let your emotions, as painful as they might be or worrisome or whatever, don't let them get in the way of you wanting to do this. Maybe not even wanting, because that would be wands. It's more your ability. You're perfectly capable, at least on three fronts, of thinking and communicating what you need to in readings. There's some element of emotion involved in it that may be keeping you from growing your reading for others, and that's something you might want to ask yourself: are my feelings about reading for others holding me back or closing me in or cutting me off? The second card is a beautiful card, the Page of Wands. Look how colorful it is. Look at her dress in a rainbow gliding onto the scene, and all these opening stars. My God, I don't think I could find a nicer card for like diving in or engaging into sharing or reading with others, sharing your thoughts. Maybe the emotion that was challenged by the swords is fear. Maybe it's a fear of embracing or engaging or starting, but it looks to me like you have the desire to do it and the impetus to begin. Just begin the activity. Now this card looks a little dark. It's the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups usually is feeling emotionally overwhelmed to the point of, can I handle this, or do I just need to walk away from it all? But the thing is, I would say don't let that fear or apprehension overwhelm you. That page, that beautiful color page of wands, is asking you to take that step, that leap, to give it a try. And you're not committed to anything. Do a few readings, and once you do it, reconsider where you're at. You have to do it live. You don't even have to do your readings live, but however you decide to do them, take a pause at some point and think, okay, can I continue doing this? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Do I need to drop it and move away from it all? Or have I got what it takes to go the long haul? Can I push the emotions aside or put them in a different perspective to find joy in those cups rather than fear or sorrow or worry or, whatever. The next step, beautiful card. Three of Cups. Now here we have a joyful, intimate meeting. Maybe you want to do readings in a quiet place that's not your home or their home, or even online. Maybe you want to meet in a cafe or a garden with a friend and make it a picnic. Bring treats and things to drink and share your thoughts and ideas, and make it a fun day, and put them and yourself at ease. The outcome is a card we've got before, the Seven of Wands. We got in Kristen's reading. Again, it's sort of like you are approaching this situation, or people are approaching you. Will you be welcomed? Will they be welcomed? Who's in the garden and who's on the outside? Seven of Wands has you often feeling defensive, trying to defend yourself. But when you have confidence and you know what you're doing, there's no reason for feeling defensive. You've got all the flowers. You've got everything you need. If anybody has, spears against you, or desires, I don't even know if these are wands or I guess they're not swords. I guess they're wands because they're on fire. If anybody has desire to stop you, remove yourself from the situation. You're only as strong as your own confidence. And if your comfort level isn't working for you in the situation, say, I'm sorry, the energies aren't aligning today. I have to pardon myself and just, leave. So this is as welcoming as you want it to be, in as far as you wish to go. I read at a metaphysical store. Oh, I read at a metaphysical store. Okay, that's a little bit trickier because there's sort of a commitment there. But even in that situation, well, I guess people are paying you for a reading. I don't know if you have the option to refund their money if the energy isn't aligning for you. But that might be a possibility. Or if the reading doesn't feel good to you, maybe you can issue a what do you call it? Not a coupon, like a rain date or something where you can read for them for what they paid at another time. I don't know. I'm not really experienced in how to handle these things. I almost feel like the Three of Swords emotion you speak of is me not really owning my tarot life, still in the broom closet to a certain extent. Maybe full embrace of that part of me will provide opening. It's definitely, I think, a step in bravery to sort of like overcome your reticence or reluctance by going and doing readings in a store. I wonder if I could do it. Feel like at this point I probably could, but there'll be days where it's like, ooh, I just don't know if I'm in that frame of mind today. Can I handle it today? And I think somehow tarot reading almost becomes like bicycle riding. The longer you do it, the easier and more natural it becomes. Sometimes you don't even need to think about it. It just kind of falls into place. And sometimes if it does that too easily, you need to pause and think, am I doing it right? Am I giving it enough? Am I just doing it mechanically? I need to like step back, refresh, reconsider my perspective, and then put my toe in again. I know how you feel, Beth. Not many people know of my tarot passion. I love doing readings. I have confidence doing them. I just would really like to read more, and it's hard to find coherence. I know what you mean. I don't find people to read for. I read for myself in a cafe, and only once has anybody come up and said, "Oh, can you read for me?" And it was a waitress working there. And I said, absolutely. However, I won't read for you on the clock. I don't want to get you in trouble with the management. If you're on your break or your lunch break or after work, I'll be happy to read for you. And she has not come back with that. So I don't know if she was just trying to get out of work or wanted a fast answer or what. But yeah, as often as I'm there and people rarely but occasionally glance over and they see colorful cards in front of me on the table and they look sort of inquisitive, but I guess maybe I should say something. I don't want to, push a business in another place of business, but at the same time, I want to feel open enough that people aren't put off so that they can ask me questions about what I'm doing if they like. And this is real food for thought. Good. It's 1:53 and I have time, I think, unless I wrap up, for one more question. Does anybody have one more question for me? And I think these cards are not as challenging as they first appeared. It's funny. It's called Wonderland Tarot and has nothing to do with Alice in Wonderland. But like Alice, when you fall down a rabbit hole, things that seem to be nonsense or don't make sense to you over time start to make sense. So maybe that's what they meant by calling it the Wonderland Tarot. Tarot reading in of itself, regardless of the deck you're using, is an adventure. It's a fool's adventure, a fool's journey. Come on, people. Give me, I didn't remove her question. One more question, please. Thank you, Beth. I used to be so worried about reading. I don't worry so much anymore. I guess I don't take personal responsibility. I try as accurately as I can to pick up on what the meanings of the cards are and intuit the images that come to me. I love it when you guys share your reaction to the images. It increases my vocabulary because it gives me new ways to think about the cards. And a bigger vocabulary is always better than one limited to a single keyword per card, I think. Sometimes it's really hard to do a reading for someone when you have a set single keyword for a card. You need to expand that. All these cards are flexible in a way. They're all flexible in terms of time. They're flexible in terms of how they interact with other cards in a spread. And that's something I learned and loved to embrace from watching Tarology, the Enrique Enriquez movie, which I believe you can still stream, on Amazon or Prime, or if you can't, you can find it, I think, on YouTube. And it really opens you up to the idea of open readings. And that's, I used to be very set in my ways about how I read, and now my readings are much more open. In fact, I read my tarot almost more like Lenormand. It's like, no card is strictly stuck in its position. They all interact like people at a Thanksgiving dinner, all wanting to talk and exchange ideas. Well, it's 1:57. If I got no more questions, I will read for myself. And I am sensing an energy shift, and I've been following a lot of YouTube channels that are talking about it too. Through August and the autumn of 2025, there's a cosmic energy shift, and we all need to sort of raise our frequency, our vibrations, to be able to tune into things better and lift things up, as opposed to getting caught in the undertow or dragging things down. So I'm going to look at that. I got another repeat. Okay. The central energy, central energy is the Lovers. Now, the Lovers card isn't always about romance. See, there's where your key words can be limiting. It's not always about that kind of pairing. Sometimes it can be a pairing in terms of a partnership, a relationship. If it's not romantic, it can be a work relationship. But I also look at it as your spiritual self versus your worldly self, and a connecting your body with your spirit. And I think that in terms of the idea of, let me take this off the screen here. So I don't want people coming in now and saying free readings. I think in terms of us relating to our higher selves, we need to work on that. We need to find a way to embrace that, to marry, so to speak, our higher selves to our earthly selves, our earthbound selves. Now, Page of Swords, we can begin, as with a page, to do that with the swords by talking to more people, listening to more people, reading from more people, learning more things. We investigate and engage our minds and our communication in order to expand our thinking. And the page is, begin just like ACE in a way. The page is sort of beginning of expansion and experience. So we need to learn more, to gain more, to grow more, to alter our frequency. The number 6 of Cups, I love the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups is always emotionally playful. It's nostalgic because we played as children, and we never outgrow that playfulness if we're lucky to embrace our inner child. I hate that phrase, inner child, but yeah, that child is in there. It's always in there. It's always been. It always will be. You talk about people going into their second childhood or their third childhood. It's always there. Sometimes we suppress it for the logical, but we all need to light those little candles. We all need to play. And we need to, the best way to learn is to play. We find learning in the Page of Swords, educating ourselves is much easier when we use play to do it. The last card or next card, or what's next card, is the 8 of Pentacles, which is, again, you need to do the work. Do the work. And you will build on the work you've previously done by continuing to do more work. And the outcome is the 4 of Wands. It's a celebration. It's a celebration here of 3, body, mind, and spirit. So, yeah, I think, and we've got lights overhead, illumination through investigation, through education, play through education, raise our energy, vibration, raise our frequency, think on the positive side. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll look for you next time. Bye.